A 22-year-old Fairfield man is dead following a one-vehicle crash southwest of Power on Saturday night. According to the Montana Highway Patrol, at about 10:25, the man was the lone occupant and was traveling south on secondary 431. While making a right-hand turn, he exited the roadway, losing control and struck a delineator post. The vehicle overcorrected while trying to re-enter the roadway and overturned. It came to rest in the center of both lanes. The driver, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was partially ejected and pronounced dead on scene. The Montana legislature was back to full operations today after their week-long transmittal break. But some lawmakers and staff were still working through the break, continuing an ethics investigation into the former president of the Senate. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian looks at what could come next after the hearing into Senator Jason Ellsworth.
Over the last week and a half, the Senate Ethics Committee heard 3 days of testimony on Senator Jason Ellsworth's handling of a state contract. Now, the committee is working on a report they'll submit to the full Senate as the chamber considers whether to pursue any further action against Ellsworth. Ellsworth, a Republican from Hamilton, was Senate president through the end of last year. In that role, he approved a contract with a former business associate to do follow-up work on a slate of judicial reform bills. A legislative audit division report said because that contract was initially split into two smaller contracts, it appeared it was an attempt to go around the rules for awarding state contracts. The Ethics Committee heard testimony from legislative staff and the Montana Department of Administration about what led up to the awarding of the contract. Ellsworth himself did not testify. His attorney, Joan Mell, again told the committee their investigation seemed politically motivated, and that Ellsworth wasn't the one responsible for splitting the contract and hadn't tried to evade scrutiny.
Consider this a learning lesson. Consider this an education process for everyone, but do not find that there was a disclosable personal or private interest, because there simply is no evidence of that extra piece that's required.
Adam Dirk, the special counsel working with the Ethics Committee, made his own closing statement, saying the biggest question was why Ellsworth didn't disclose his ties with the contractor.
I certainly can't tell you what to do as special counsel, so I'd ask you to consider this question. Can anyone plausibly argue that there is no appearance of impropriety in the Agile contract after everything you've heard?
On Monday, the Ethics Committee began going through a 17-page draft report based on the hearing. Lawmakers said their goal was to keep the findings focused on fact and let the full Senate decide how to move forward. The Ethics Committee is set to meet again Tuesday morning, where they could finalize their report. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.